Hello guys, how's it going? Screezilla here in the magnificent fairy swordfish. Just doing a quick mission here for, well, just to talk about something really. We have a new ship announcement, and this one's a rather interesting one. We're going to be getting a new Russian ship, the Project 122 BIS, which was a submarine chaser. Now, what does this mean? Well, if you're really optimistic, it means we might be getting submarines, but I very much doubt it. What it most likely means is we're getting bigger ships. Hey, kitty. With the recent announcement of the German, the German, basically German destroyer that they announced a few days back, the MZ1, which is it's a very small destroyer. The 122 BIS is another small destroyer, basically. It's a very heavily armored ship, well, heavily armed ship, and relatively well armored as well. Getting attacked by a cat at the moment. Oh, get over there. Some of the main features of the ship are it's got 37mm automatic cannons. It's got an 85mm K90. So it's got some pretty decent cannons. I'll put a link below onto the website where this is. It's a pretty cool looking ship as well, which is really cool. And it's bigger, of course. It's a proper ship. It's not a coastal defense ship boat. This was actually used in flotillas and things like that in sea battles. It was built post-war, which is interesting. It was built in 1945, and a total of 227 were built by the Soviet Navy. A lot were used as border guard up until 1955, and they were exported to a lot of friendly countries. Now, this is a post-war ship. This is a Korean War era ship. This is a ship that served up to the 70s, which is kind of interesting. The big thing on it, though, is the armaments, and that's what I want to talk about you with. So you've got one 85mm gun, which I believe is on the front of the ship. Yeah, which is on the front. You have two 37mm guns at the back of the ship, and they're in line with each other. Then you have AAA defense as well. Now, AAA defense on here was 6 Colt Brownings, or M127s, basically heavy machine guns, 12.7mm machine guns, and then it also had 6 14.5mm machine guns. So, pretty big ass machine guns all in all. Really quite cool. So this thing is going to be a pretty deadly anti-air device. It has depth charges, of course, because it is a sub-hunter. And of course, because it is a sub-hunter, it would have had it had radar and what am I saying? What's the word I'm trying to say? It had acoustic sound devices, basically. It could detect submarines, and its main job was to kill submarines. Now, the cool thing about this ship is it's going to have mortars. Basically, it's going to have bomb mortars. So it's going to be able to lob big-ass bombs, which is really, really cool. So, what they've said in their release... Let me just find that for you. So it's got a special jet-powered bomb thrower for them. And this is the first bait in the game with that device on it. Which ship shall we go for? Let's go for that one there. So what this means is that it can fire bombs over a large distance. So it's basically a bomber. The bombs can not only be dropped behind the boat, but they can be dropped in front and around the boat as well. There's also going to be delay on the depth charges, things like that. It's going to have the depth charge capability. So it's going to be a really versatile ship, and it's going to be a hard ship to crack. It's going to be one of those ships that you're going to be, oh, Jesus Christ, that thing is a tough nut. And that's it, really. It's a proper ship. With the announcement of the German destroyer coming in, we're finally going to be getting some proper ships. It's not just PT boats and stuff, which, although PT boats are cool, it's not what people wanted. And I think Gaijin are actually listening to what people want, which is really, really cool. And I'm really happy they're listening to what we want, basically. Because one of the main issues with the announcement of the Knights of the Sea was the fact that we were getting, you know, little tiny patrol boats, basically, which, yeah, they're fast, they're different, they're something that's not been done before. But we wanted destroyers, we wanted things like this. We wanted destroyers, we wanted ships that were ships, not just big sort of patrol boats. And we're getting them. So it's awesome news. And I'm really looking forward to it. The big thing about the Project 122 BIS is it's going to be a really different ship, and it's going to be a hard ship to crack. As I say, it's going to have 13mm of armour around the conning tower. So it's going to be pretty well armoured. You know, it's nowhere near a battleship level of armour or things like that. And of course, it's not going to be super, you know, it's not a ship that's super hard to kill. But with the armaments and also the armour on it, it's going to be a pretty sturdy boat. Got a Jerry on R6. So yeah, it's really, really neat. It's also a relatively big ship. So what it was classed as was a large submarine chaser, which basically means it's not a destroyer, it is a sub chaser. So it's almost like a little Corvette. So it's very... It's not designed for ship-to-ship combat, although it could be used in that regard. It was more for taking out U-boats and the like. And that was its main role, was taking out submarines. And that was it. That was its sole purpose. So, you know, this leads me to believe that there's going to be something like that coming into the game. Maybe not player controlled, but there's a possibility that we might get some form of, you know, submarine in the game, even if it is a AI controlled variant. So the length of it was 52 meters, 171 feet. Beam was 6.5 meters, so not that wide, 21 foot. Pretty beefy though, relatively big boat. And it had a draft of 2.2 meters, so it sat relatively deep in the water. It had pretty decent depth. Displacement wise, it was pretty heavy. It was around 3,377 tons. So, yeah, that's right. No, 300,000. No, that doesn't sound right. Yeah, 3,307 tons. I might be misreading that, sorry. But pretty big, basically. It was a heavy, heavy boat. It was a big boat, basically. This is what we're saying. You know, your things like your PT boats and stuff like that were a couple of tons, whereas this is actually a proper size ship, and it's a ship. That's the big thing. You know, relatively large crew on it as well. I've been trying to look for a list of crew numbers on it, which I haven't really found as of yet. But from the size of it, I would imagine it would have a crew of at least 40 or 60. 54 crew members. So, yeah, a lot of crew members. So if you're trying to take out crew with machine guns on this thing, you're gonna be there for a while. As I said, it's not the most heavily armoured ship in game, but with the conning tower, so the compartment for your crew, for your officers and your drive areas, being 8mm, that gives it a fairly good chance of bouncing a few shells and being able to stop a few things. Because it sits so low in the water as well, it was designed to be able to sort of avoid torpedoes a little bit, unless they had magnetic charges on and stuff like that. So your general torpedoes would go underneath this boat rather than into it. If you've ever played Silent Hunter, you'll know what I'm talking about here. It was designed in that sort of regard. There's actually a really good little photo on the website, which I'll link to you, of course, of the comparison of the size of this ship next to a looks like a T-60 tank, and it's about about 10 times bigger than that tank, so 10 times longer than that tank. So a very big tank, not tank, a very big ship indeed. So this thing is going to be pretty spectacular, and it's going to be true naval warfare. You know, it's going to take a while to take out, of course, unless you get some good torpedo hits on it. It's not going to be fast either. That's the other thing. It had a top speed of 20 knots. So not the fastest boat in the world, and it's also not going to be very maneuverable. And what I'm scared of with ships in War Thunder is the fact that we're going to have some issue with the with the smaller, lighter patrol boats, because they're going to run rings around these things, and you're going to find they're going to get absolutely shredded, which could be quite sad. But I think maybe they'll have a tier system where these bigger boats in a higher tier, you know, so your tier 1 is your patrol boats, your tier 2 are your destroyers, and then maybe tier 5 you get cruisers. That could be really interesting. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, found it interesting. As I said, I'll post a link to the actual website for you guys, so you can see exactly what I was talking about and read a little bit more information on it. And yeah, I'll catch up with you guys soon. Have a great day, and this is Screezelight out. Catch you again, guys.